Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Monday's Wealth Creation Show. And today we are going to talk about taking stock and really about finding the time to take stock. And I don't know, people might think, what are you talking about taking stock? But I think it's the best way to put it is really kind of to take a step back and kind of evaluate things, maybe in your personal life and work life, a combination of both. Because we get so busy day to day and week to week, and everybody's running around, and I think you lose track. And we talk a lot, Jim, about being quite consistent and having things in place that you do on a daily basis. I mean, things you could get thrown curveballs. It could be your own health, family health, an emergency, holidays. Things can knock you off track. So to take that step back, kind of take stock of things, is really good to get you back into the routine of what you've got set out for achieving your goals and achieving your wealth and just being successful in general.
I just thought you were talking about a stock take.
Yeah, I know you think of it. I think about that as well. When you say taking
Taking
stock, you
stock.
think
Okay.
about
We're
the
on the
corner
stock
shop.
take. I'm back to my accountancy days at Tillis Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah, aye, absolutely. It's funny. I was watching Diary of a CEO this morning.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I refer to it quite a lot, and I watched it quite a lot as well. And it was quite interesting. I was watching something the other now about marginal gains as you get older, and you
Yeah.
begin to realise it's like, wait a minute, life's a bit finite now. Um, and I'm going to get morbid about this whole thing. About it's like there's death is actually quite certain in life. At some point in
Hmm.
time, you will die.
Okay.
But what
Well,
people don't realize is the marginal gains you get from doing something in longevity.
hmm. Okay.
And to live a longer, I mean, you might live till 60, you might live till 70, but I bet you your last 10 years you'll no realize that actually you're slowly degrading down to that age that you'll finally go. And it's the marginal gains that you do early on in your life with the exercise, with the strength and conditioning, with eating right, with looking after your body and all the rest of it, and looking after your mind and your brain. These are all the marginal gains you'll get, which will ensure that you'll probably last a lot longer. So death is finite, where longevity
Uh-huh.
can be actually changed and influenced.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally believe that, and I know you are a big believer of what you do with your body and your health and your diet and all the rest of it, and how you live. Definitely has an effect on the longevity of your life and like
Think,
obviously what age you're going to reach.
think about the times. Think about the time. I mean, we're all striving for retirement at some day. At some point in time, you will
Yeah.
retire. And you're going to do all the things you actually wanted to do, because a lot of people book bucket lists. Oh, when I retire, I'm
I'm
going to
going
do
to
this,
wait
I'm going to do
until
that.
yeah. Hmm.
And the simple things like even walking down a stairs or walking up a stairs, you'll probably not be able to do. So
Yeah.
you'll not be doing your bucket list at all. You'll not be in the garden playing with your grandchildren because you won't have the energy and you won't have the muscle and all the rest of it to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you had pointed out a few weeks ago when we were chatting about, if you've not got your legs, you've not got that strength in your legs and your mobility, what have you got? It's a
I heard that
downward spiral from there. Yeah,
Stephen Bartlett's dad. Stephen
yeah,
Bartlett's dad. They went on a holiday, and then that's when he talked about it, and he realised when they were climbing down 100 steps to get
uh-huh.
to the beach to do this wonderful water thing, and then climbing up 100 steps. It's two different muscle sets that do that. It's not the same.
Hmm.
And he said, and then at that point he says, I realised that my dad couldn't go down the steps,
Yeah,
and he couldn't come up the steps, and yet his dad's only about 60 odd. And it's like, my God. And then he talked about his grandchildren, when he has grandchildren, or I think his brother or something has grandchildren, or his sister or something like that. He says the children, he can't even go out and play with them. He has to sit at the kitchen window and actually just watch them outside.
so you see that, and that's the reality if you've not got your mobility and your health.
60s. I'm
Yeah,
bloody 58. My God. When you look
but
at it in that context,
and that's when a lot of people will get to roughly maybe your age, Jim, and start to think like that. Whereas you obviously,
you're too
you've got,
late.
yeah, you're too late. You need to think about it before that.
You need to think about it a lot before that, and really, it's going to become more and more apparent. You have to cut out things like alcohol. You have to cut out things like carcinogenic foods, like ultra high processed foods. You've got to cut out smoking and vaping. You've got to make sure you're not in environments where you're actually the particulate count and the smog and stuff like that doesn't actually affect your lungs. Because it's effectively just like smoking. You may as well just smoke every day if you're in one of these big, massive cities with all the
Yeah.
smog and everything
Day
like
in,
you've
day
got
out,
in
yeah.
China and stuff like that. It's like, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But these are the sort of things you've got to take time, and you've got to take stock of the things in your life. And I know it's not the greatest subject to start out on, but I kind of think I need to get somebody's attention here.
Yeah. No, it's a really good wake up call. I think if you're listening and you're prepared to listen, it is a wake up call about and what's the best trigger for anyone? It's death.
Your mind has to be like a parachute when you come on with things like this.
Yeah.
It has to be open, it'll not work.
Mhm. Yeah, if you're very narrow minded about things when we talk about things like, or in any conversation or any walk of life, when things like this are discussed, you're never going to take it in properly and you're never going to be able to implement it in a positive way.
Quite a few people will just watch this and go, I've had it anyway.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, you've not really.
There's day two again.
Yeah, I mean, Casper's going really thin. This is our cat, Casper. It's going really thin, and we've had him at the vet, and he says, yeah, his liver's all right, and everything like that, and everything. But he's just skin and bone now.
Oh, I've
And
seen
and
him
they're
the other
going,
day, yeah.
well, what age is he? Oh, he's 18. And it's like, when Casper looks really thin now, and everybody's going, yeah, he's probably just at his end of life. And I'm like, no, he's no.
We're going to keep going.
Because what it is I've actually worked out, and nobody would listen to me, and I've convinced them now that when he was trying to eat his bowl, he must be getting hurt in his mouth, or he must be hurt when he's eating. Because
Hmm.
I just got the cat food, and I've done it a couple of days in a row, and I've actually just, and Elaine says, oh, he's full up, he's not going to eat any more of his bowl and everything like that. So I got the cat food, and I used it like a popsicle, like an ice pole, and I did
Yeah,
it like an ice pole with my hand underneath, and he ate half a packet
it just lit with it
after it.
about. Hmm.
So it shows that there must be something wrong with going down the dish. So there's nothing wrong with him. It's the very fact that they've not realised, nobody's realised that the fact that he can't eat out the dish very well now, and he
Hmm.
can eat comfortably out of a packet if you do use it like a nice bowl. So this is all about getting him blooming fed up again.
Yeah,
Because there's nothing wrong with him. And yet everybody's going, no, it's just the end of his life. It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
I'm just
I'm not
prepared
going to
to let
accept
him.
that.
Yeah,
Because he's had his bloods done, he's done everything else, and they're saying, yeah, he's fine. So why would that be any different? And that's kind of like how we are as humans. It's like we take stock, and we just kind of, people just lie down, and
accept
it's like,
things.
well,
Yeah.
it's all over.
The thing is that that's really interesting. You say that about the cat, and it's like if you hadn't thought, no, it's not over. That there's something else here, and looked into that. Anybody else going to the vet and advised like that, they're thinking the vet's a professional. I'll listen to them. He's just at that age. With the in reality, just let him starve to death. Because basically
Effectively, that's what's happening. That's what
that's what would
happened. He
happen.
starved to
Yeah.
death. That's exactly what happened to my father. But he was lucky they put him on a driver, and it was like,
Mhm.
woohoo, that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
You'll never
Mhm.
know it. You'll never feel it. You'll just starve to death while you're comatose on the driver with the morphine.
That's
And it's like,
crazy.
that's what happens. And that's when I thought to me, well, my dad was a different case. I mean, there was no chance he was ever going to come back anyway.
Yeah, but
But it's a similar sort of thing. But they're letting that happen. And some people actually might have thought, well, maybe we should just put him down now. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. There's always a chance.
yeah.
And so we're going to continue to do that. And I've told the boys, it's like, we're going away. So I've told the boys, it's like, this is what you need to do every day.
Mhm.
You need to make sure, you need to just do it like that. And then you'll get back on his feet and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I always find it very strange, and do you know, obviously Britain and UK, like there's a lot of the nation of animal lovers and things, but we've just become accustomed to this thing where dogs and cats and things get to a certain age and they just get put down, and I'm like, why is that? And obviously, and now I've got a dog, and you do become very attached to animals. It's like I don't think I would accept that so easily, like unless it was really, really necessary, and you hear it a lot. So yeah, but death is a really good driving force to change your habits and make you take stock. Because I mean, we're going to move on to look at, like, people might think, well, how easy is it to actually take stock of what's going on in your life or what's going on in your professional life at work and your business and all the rest of it. But it just maybe takes that bit time that you take that bit time out to step back and have a wee bit of an evaluation of what is the most important things to you in your journey, because you can lose
Well,
track so easily.
we all live busy lives, though, or we all think we live busy lives.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching EastEnders, or you're watching Neighbours, or you're watching Coronation Street every single night, or you're watching Big Celebrity Big Brother, you've got time to take stock.
Yeah.
Because that's more important, taking stock of what you're doing so far and where you're going and all the rest of it. And some people just don't want to take stock because they don't want to be reminded about where they are right now, because it's maybe not the place they want to be.
Would it be fair to say, do you think a lot of people run around in this busy world and being busy for the sake of being busy just to mask the real problems that they didn't want to address?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a classic. Let's have another baby. Wait a minute. We're thinking about splitting up.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
The plaster is.
Yeah. Oh, that'll make us busy.
Yeah.
It's like we've heard that before with people. It's like, or let's get a bigger house, or let's move a different house, and let's change. Let's go to a different country completely.
Yeah.
And
That's
hold
quite.
it. It's your relationship you need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to follow you. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
People are convinced it's the environment round about them. No, it's you.
That's quite an interesting one, because everybody does have this big need for change all the time, and not always for the better. Change is always needed to better yourself and do things and things, but everybody wants to push. It's like people that continually jump from job to job, or from relationship to relationship, and it's like they push and influence these changes in their life. And do they really need to be doing that? I think that's a
It's
question that I
disrupting.
think.
It's disrupting, and it's the reason it's disrupting is because they're bored.
Hmm.
And if you are bored, congratulations. You're
Boring
meant to be
day.
bored. You're meant to be bored. It's called, guess what it's called now? Mindfulness. Isn't
I
it?
thought you were going to say contentment.
No, it's mindfulness. That's what it is.
Right.
Mindfulness is being bored. It's actually sitting in isolation, just doing nothing and just
And not. Yeah.
relaxing. And people think that is boring, but they've packaged it up as mindfulness. I
Yeah.
get mindfulness every day when I go to the toilet because I just sit and do nothing.
Do you know, is there any difference then? Because I find myself like,
I'm
do you
a
know,
guru when it comes to mindfulness.
see, like when, like, let's look for instance about like when people go on holiday and lie in sun loungers for hours on end, or if people go to like spas and sit in saunas and things for time. I mean, I know you're going to lie down for 15 minutes at a time. I can't even sit
Yeah,
that long. I just can't sit that long. I'm like, I need to do something.
yeah.
I couldn't lie.
I've got used to it. I've got used to it now.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
force
I've
yourself
definitely.
to get used to that?
I've deliberately programmed myself to get used to these times. I've deliberately programmed myself to get used to the treadmill. I've deliberately programmed myself to go out running and, just for endless time. I've deliberately programmed myself to swim for 2 kilometers in the pool for an hour every
Mm,
week. But you have conversations with yourself all the way when you're doing these things.
yeah.
So you're not really bored and you've not really got anything to do. You're actually having a conversation with yourself while you're actually doing that.
But then that, to me, is you're obviously conditioning yourself to do these things, but that's for your betterment. Your health and your sanity and things, to be able to take some downtime in that, because in the past you
I think
probably
it's
weren't
I
able to
think
do
it's like a dream state.
that. Okay.
I think it's probably doing stuff like that. When you're sitting in a sauna, or when you're swimming, or when you're running, or when you're cycling, and you've just got the outer, what you hear
Hmm.
is the birds, the squirrels. I was running past the seals, lying sunbathing on the
I've
rocks
seen
and on
that.
the
Yeah.
links today.
I was. It was a long the other day.
I was just running past other people and saying hiya, how you doing, and stuff like that. But you're having conversations with yourself all the time anyway, in your mind, and just about things that are going on in your life. And I think that's an awakening, if that makes sense. But it's an awakening from what you would normally do, is you would dream about it if you were sleeping.
Yeah.
So it is a kind of awakening, because you start to resolve things in your mind when you're doing all these different things, and you're not really doing anything but just thinking things through and
thinking
letting
it
your
through.
brain
Yeah.
work it out. And that's why taking time, time to take stock is so important, because when you go through that sort of mindfulness, we'll package it up like that and we'll call it that, then it is giving you a bit more clarity about where you are right now. And it's okay if you're fearful of where you are right now, and you're trying to avoid thinking about where you are right now, and it's okay that you're like that, but it's better to actually just be real with yourself. And I
Hmm.
don't mean beat yourself up. I don't mean castigate yourself and say, and feel rotten about yourself. It's actually just saying, I tell you what, it's understanding you where you are right now and thinking, how can I improve? How can I get better? How
Yeah.
can I get out of this situation I'm in? It's kind of that, rather than just ignoring it, because what ignoring does is it goes, let's push it
Yeah.
right down. get get down, just get, push it right down, and then get to a point it's like, and that's me better.
And then,
No,
over
you
time,
don't.
that just manifests into
It's
something
it's
totally.
coming back up to
Yeah.
haunt you at some point in time, when the rest of it comes up as well. It's carrying a big massive burden. All you're doing is carrying more and more and more emotional
Baggage.
baggage,
Yeah.
when you're not taking time to take stock of where you are right now, or what you need to do, or where you want to be, or how you want to be there, how you want to get there, who you want to be with, and all these different things you want, all these decisions you want to make. You just need to have some sort of clarity. And it's all right to write it down. Don't worry about it. And it doesn't matter if you don't achieve it. It's just stick it in your mind and think to yourself, wouldn't it be great one day if this happened?
Hmm.
You know, the thing is, if you don't think like that, then it'll never happen.
Yeah.
But what be surprised just how one day and that did actually happen for you,
I know.
because you've planted that seed. Your mind, your mind's kind of like it is like a landscape of land. Let's just say, let's look at your
Okay.
mind as a landscape of land here. And what's happening is, every interaction you're having with people, what it's doing is it's planting seeds.
Okay.
Now, the things that you think about the most in your mind is the things that allow these seeds to grow more. And these seeds will eventually grow into, trees as a result. Some seeds won't, because you won't let them grow, because you'll not think about them. And that's what will consume your mind. As like an orchard. You'll have an orchard, and it'll be made up of all these different trees that have grown, and they'll all be different. It'll all be different thoughts. Just imagine these are all different thoughts, and the ones you allow to grow are the ones that will overtake you. And if you allow the negative to grow in your mind, then that's what consumes you. If you allow the
Yeah.
positive to grow in your mind, that's what consumes you. So it's I think it's Napoleon Hill or something like that says, as a man thinketh, so he become. And
Okay.
that's what's actually happening, and that's when you start to take time, take stock of your life and where you are
Mhm.
and what you want to be and where you want to go. That's where it is. I mean, I used to do this at 20 years old. Think to
Mhm.
myself, where do I want to be, where do I want to go? And I used to say to Elaine, where do you think where we're going to be in 5 years? And Elaine was going, I'm not bothered.
Yeah,
It's
I was
like,
just going to say, 'cause a lot of people don't have that mindset and don't
Elaine
think
doesn't have that mindset.
think ahead, and other people do, and it's do you know, it's
That's
interesting when you
okay.
talk about,
But
yeah,
you'll
but I
attract a
think,
person, you'll more likely attract a person that's like that. Where
yeah.
we're going to be in 5 years' time. And you're like, I could care less. I'm all right there now. I'm enjoying myself. And
Mhm.
whereas other people are like, no, no, and I kind of need to have some sort of vision. I kind of need to have some sort of way forward about where I
Yeah.
want to be. And that's okay. That's just different personality types. That's
Mhm.
all. Some people like to plan. Some people just like to live in the moment. Some people like both. Some people just like it all written down in detail, right to the nth degree. Some people just like, yeah, if it happens, it happens. I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Some people beat themselves up every single day emotionally, thinking, why is it no happening? And some people just go, does it really matter?
Yeah. The interesting thing I picked up on it when you're talking about these like kind of feelings that you repress and push down and don't deal with and how they manifest later on. And do you know when you've got a challenge or something as well, we've spoken about before, do you know, it was like write it down, put it in a box and come back and later and you'll have the answer. And that's such a good strategy because sometimes I feel personally, and I know other people feel the same, do you know, you've got a problem or something you need to solve and you get yourself so worked up thinking, I need to resolve this right now. But you don't have the answer
Yeah.
right now and you've not got the mind. And see if you just put it aside just for that short period of time and come back to it, you'll find, all right, okay, it falls into place.
Actually, I spoke to some of the team the other day about this, the
Mhm.
sales team about this,
Yeah,
about the fact that about about running at a certain level, about doing things within half an hour, doing things within 15 minutes, and constantly doing that all the time,
yeah,
coming back straight away and contacting the customer and then getting everything done for them straight away. When they lift the phone to you, you're going, yeah, I'm on it. And then you change and you get on it. And then the next minute, they're all controlling what you do,
yeah,
and they're controlling your whole routine and your whole life. And then you realize it's like, oh my God, I'm on a hamster wheel. I can't get off now.
yeah,
And then you're not in charge anymore because you're allowing other people to influence what you do. And I said that you shouldn't be doing that because you get into a routine of doing that all the time, and your brain is wired to do that, and it expects to do that. And the next minute, when you can't do it, you get annoyed with yourself,
yeah.
and
And
then you
it's not
look at
even what you
everybody
should be
else,
doing.
and the one thing that they don't do, and we've done this before actually,
Mhm.
I've pointed this out to you before, in private conversations about, look at what you did before. Was that what you did before? Well, no, actually. And was
It's
before
changed.
acceptable and
Yeah.
everybody liked what you did anyway? Was there a
Hmm.
problem with that? Well, no.
So why
Everything
change
was
something
fine.
if it's
So why all of a sudden have you changed to let everybody else run your whole life for you?
hmm
Why has that happened? And we've fallen into a routine, we've fallen into a habit. And you know what happens with habits. They're
yeah,
implanted into your brain, they're hardwired now, and you become that person. And then the next minute, it's like you wake up one day and you think, what's happened to my life?
yeah.
What, why have I let this consume me? For
And it's
some
amazing.
people,
It's amazing
it's
how these things.
overwhelming.
Yeah, it's amazing how these things could creep up on somebody, and it could all be happening, and they're not even aware of it.
No, they allow it to happen. They just allow it to happen. You're right. It does. It does creep up on them. Hey, listen. The reason I'm actually able to talk about this is because I've done it
Yeah,
myself.
experienced it, of course. Yeah,
I've allowed it to happen, and I've not even realised it's happening. And then I've looked at it and thought to myself, I need to change something. If you want to change some things in your life, you've got to change some things in your life.
yeah. You've got to change that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. No one
Well,
else is going to do that for you. And if you want to, it's called a boss.
hmm
That's who's going to do it for you. If you don't do it yourself, somebody else is
yeah.
going to do it. And I don't mean your boss at work or anything like that. It's just somebody that ends up
Somebody who's
being
got
in charge of you. Whether
somebody's
that's
got the
your,
higher control. Yeah,
well, if it's a mortgage thing, it's your bank that's going to be the boss.
yeah,
If it's day-to-day finances and you're a couple, then it's your partner that's going to be the boss if you don't do anything about it. If it's the fact, if it's your pets and you're not looking after them, you're not feeding them or anything like that, your pets are probably going to end up being the boss because they're going to have a go,
yeah.
in their pet way or whatever. I know it sounds daft, but
No, no, you're
that's
right.
what does happen. And it begins, and because all these things almost become out of control. Now, there's one thing that humans don't like. It's not being in control of their life, or the
hmm
perception that they're in control of not being in control of life. Remember, there's this is the classic example. Let's talk about this, about how America thinks they're in control. It's like, no, you're no. You're not as big. You're not as big and important as the world, as in the world, as you think you are,
As you think
Americans.
that, yeah,
Yeah, and they've had to do a U-turn, haven't they?
yeah, seen that.
The tariffs have now come. It's like, oh, backtrack. It's like
Well,
your iPhone's going to cost $1,500 instead of $1,000 now because all the parts come from China. It's like
yes.
you're going to have to backtrack.
Yeah. What if they put a hold? They put a hold on it. Is it 61 days or 91 days or something like that? I can't
And then
remember.
there's Lindt, the chocolate. They send all their chocolate to Canada, but they use American factories to manufacture it to send to Canada. And they're like, well, we can get rid of tariffs. We'll just produce it in Europe and send it direct to Canada and close down America.
Yeah. I
This
mean,
is what I love, eh?
it's really surprising that they didn't actually see that coming.
That's because that's because the guy in charge. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say his name. We all know who he is. He's got
Yeah.
big towers and all the rest of it after his name. But the guy in charge hasn't got a clue. He thinks he's dealing with day-to-day contractors when he's dealing with
Global.
billions of people in the
Yeah.
world. You can't predict what's going to happen, and you can't control what's going to happen when it comes to billions of people. You can do one or two, but you can't do billions.
No, that's a tough thing to deal with. Yeah.
And he's got it wrong.
And
And
that
he's
just
going to pay
shows.
the price for it, and the American people are going to pay the price for it as well. But that is a reality check, and
Mhm.
that's another thing about taking stock. Sometimes you get a reality check.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that, like obviously talking about the American things and the tariffs and that's a big example of how things can get out of control. And you mentioned there, Jim, as well. You were talking about, obviously taking stock and having experienced it yourself, and that's why obviously you could talk about these kind of instances with quite confidence because you've been there, done that. And when we talk about taking that time to take stock, it's not something that you'll do once in your life. You'll do it a few times. I mean, I imagine you've done it a few times over the years.
Every day,
Not every
every
day.
day,
Well, there
every
you go.
day, every day I assess certain criteria. Every
Yeah.
day I'm taking stock. I mean, the long-term goal is there to live
Mhm.
as long as a healthy life as possible.
Yeah.
And that means if I'm going to do that, you've got to make sure you eat the right stuff. You've got to make sure you exercise. I'm pointing to my Garmin. It did tell
Hmm.
me to start running again. Remember?
Yeah.
Did you see that in the video? It went beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep. And it's like, oh, I'm off again. I'll
It's
start
because you
running.
stopped to talk. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because I want to stick to a routine. See, the habits and routine.
Yeah.
Um, it will get me there. I know if I do that, I'll be healthier for it. But I know if I do it within so I run in heart rate zones. I
Hmm.
don't run in speed
So right.
and in
Okay. So.
time. I don't do anything like that at all. I run in heart rate zone. Most of the time you want to run at a base level, which is for me is around about 147 beats per minute when I'm running. And that protects your heart and your valves and your cardiovascular system, but it makes it healthy. It strengthens it and improves it as a result.
See,
So
that's
it
really
doesn't,
interesting
yeah,
because there's a lot of people when I see them and they'll go hell for leather, and I
yeah,
think you're pushing
doing
yourself
so
so
much
much.
damage.
Yeah.
You're doing so much damage. I used to get told off all the time by Christian Delacour, who was my kendo instructor. When we
Uh-huh.
went out running all the time, he said, Jim, you need to do some sort of variation in your running and no just caning it every single time when
Yeah.
you're out there and just going for broke at your high beats per minute and your
Hmm.
heart. I mean, I was up at like 190, 199 beats per minute when I was running
Yeah.
on some occasions, and that's way beyond threshold, definitely. And he said you're needing to go and do some variation in your training, and I'm like, what for? It's like the more I run, the faster I run, the healthier I'll get. But it never clicked until I've researched and researched and researched and done a lot more now that oh my god, he was right. It's like the amount of damage. And this is why you get people that's like, I can't understand why you had a heart attack. He was always fit. He was out running, he was out cycling, he was out swimming, he was doing everything. It's because they were caning it and they were
And
eating the
worn
wrong
out their
stuff
heart
and they were,
muscles and things.
they were
Yeah.
mistreating their body really. Even though they're out doing athletics and all the rest of it and training, they weren't treating their body right.
Hmm.
I mean, you would think if you did boxercise,
Yeah.
right? That's fine. You're training. You're healthy. But if you're doing boxing, you're battering your head to bits with somebody else. And it's like, is that really going to be healthy for you?
No.
Constantly hitting your head. You know, onset dementia coming and incoming, definitely, as a result.
Yeah,
and probably what they call PTSD, because it actually does it instigates stress disorder. Doing
yeah,
that because you're hitting your brain all the time with somebody hitting you with a boxing glove.
yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, because my
So
brother's is a boxer, and so's my nephew, and my mum hates it, and for that reason.
yeah, and these are the things. These are the things that you've got to then look, and this is why you take stock all the time. And
Yeah.
I can't impress on it enough how important it is to make sure that what you're doing is actually the right thing for you, and you're making sure. So I run base level quite a lot, and it's
Hmm.
only one or two times a week I'm actually doing um, fast training, sprint training, and intervals. So intervals is on and off, and resting in between for about a minute. Caning it for a minute, 175 beats a minute. See again, beats per minute,
Yeah.
175 beats a minute, going full pelt for a minute, then stopping and just walking for 3 minutes, full pelt again, minute, stop for three
Like
minutes. And
intervals.
that's what I'm doing. It's nothing to do with the speed. It's everything to do with the beats per minute.
That's a really interesting approach, and I've never really actually thought about it like that. But it makes complete sense when you say it. Obviously, with the beats per minute as opposed to your speed or how quick you're going to get there.
Here's why that's important. If you run, I can run longer. In other words, longer distance,
Uh-huh.
and I could run longer distance if I'm running at base, because I'm no pushing my heart all the time and I'm no pushing my body all the time. I could run a lot longer in marathon, ultra marathon, than I can by sprinting. You run out of energy quicker when you're sprinting. This is why I talk to everybody, and I've talked to you about this as well, about your threshold. For your work activity, for your activity, you've got your line that goes right across, and that's where your threshold line is, where you work at your premium when you go above it, and your energy levels, and
Yeah.
and this is why people go, I'm going to get 3 hours sleep a night, and I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to be even better. And it's like, no, you're working way beyond your threshold all the time,
Yeah.
and you'll do less work over the long term than you will actually working just under threshold all the time. Everything's a long game here.
Yeah.
There's never a get rich quick scheme. There's never a way to get rich quick. And I mean rich as in whether it's your health, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your well-being, whether it's your mind or anything like that. There's not a get rich quick here.
Yeah.
It is a it is a it is a determined long-term strategy and order of disciplining yourself to do what you need to do in order to get there in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not always. I mean, people might tune into this or see this and think the wealth creation show and automatically think it's all related to money and monetary terms, and it's not.
You could have all the money in the world, but if you're dying, it's not yesterday, is it?
Worthless. Yeah.
Steve Jobs, billionaire. I've got pancreatic cancer. I'm on my way out. Bye bye.
There's no coming
Did your
back
money
from
save
that.
you? No.
No, no. There's nothing going to save you for pancreatic cancer. And that's obviously, I mean, we can't, we've not got a crystal ball to say that he would never have got that if he'd lived maybe in a different way, but there's every chance it could be really,
No, it is actually proven scientifically. If you live in a different way, you're less likely to get that.
these kinds of things.
It was out the other day, something about drinking wine.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, drinking excess wine actually causes you have 10% higher chance of getting breast cancer.
Really?
Aye, it was actually the Cancer Association that actually said it. It's these are all nobody wants to tell you about this stuff.
I was just going to say they don't put that on the ball.
No, they don't. They don't want to tell you
Yeah.
this stuff. Remember, you're drinking alcohol. You're drinking ether.
Yeah.
Your body, ether is a poison. Hence the reason why you get drunk and woozy, because you're poisoning yourself.
Hmm.
Hence the reason why you smoke a cigarette for the first time and you get high, or you get up in the morning and you get a high, or you drink coffee and you get the high from the caffeine. You're poisoning your body every single time you're doing that. I
Yeah.
know people just don't want to accept that, and you'll have people out with their torches and their pitchforks. What do you mean? There's nothing wrong with coffee. It's meant to be really healthy for you. I'm not talking about the coffee. I'm talking
It's
about the caffeine.
the caffeine.
It's the drug. they talk about, hemp, which is effectively cannabis plants.
Yeah.
And they talk, oh, hemp's really good for you.
It's the
I
oil.
take
It's the
hemp,
oil.
but
Yeah.
I don't take the drug. It's
No.
not in the hemp. The hemp is good for you because it's got a huge high protein content, it's got a good fiber content, and your body loves that sort of thing because it's plant-based.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like the drug. And all the drugs doing when it kicks in for your, people, and I've seen it, you've all seen it about the
Yeah.
Parkinson's and all the rest of it, and how it
Block,
stops people
blocks your
sharing.
receptors.
Aye, but all you're doing is just blocking receptors, and it's like it'll return, and you've still got it. It's no going away. You'll no reduce it really. You'll make your quality of life a bit better as a result of it. That's all. It
Yeah.
won't cure anything. And
Yeah.
yet
There's
people think that.
Yeah, I know. It's quite a controversial, that one. There'll be a lot of arguments either side, obviously.
No, but
Um,
people actually watch these videos of people
yeah,
and they're like the tremors, and they go, yeah, yeah, I'm fine now. Yeah, I'm
mhm,
okay. I'm absolutely brilliant, and all the rest of it. And it's like, yeah, because it's blocking off receptors. That's all.
yeah,
It's still there, whether you like it or not, and it's coming back. It'll not, and then eventually the tolerance of your body will build up to be able to accept that. So you'll not be able to stop it anyway. You'll have to take more and more and more. And
mhm,
if you're in that position, you're obviously going to do it,
yeah.
but you can
But then,
avoid it.
but then you become dependent on that.
But Richard, again, you could avoid it. You can avoid Parkinson's, the risk of Parkinson's. You can let's say not avoid. Let's say, because folk are going, you
Less,
can't
less
say
of your
that.
risk. Yeah,
It's like all the blooming nut jobs out there. You can't say that. It's like, I tell you what I will say. It's proven scientifically that looking after yourself and not drinking alcohol and not eating processed foods and not eating, carcinogenic bacon, carcinogenic,
yeah.
yeah, not
No,
eating mercury-filled fish, it's from the sea, because it is,
yeah.
and not eating all
Mercury
these
levels
things
in
that have
sugar.
got all these additives in it will reduce significantly your risk of things like cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, you name it. It's going to reduce it, the risk,
Mhm,
dramatically.
yeah, and people might think, "Oh, that's easy for you to say. It's quite simple," but I mean, it is simply as that. As simple as that, really.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. You keep doing what you're doing, and I'll do what I'm doing,
And see where we
and
both
I'll
end
be
up.
at your funeral.
Yeah.
That's effectively it, because I'll still be here.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about taking stock, I think health and the way people live comes in as a big factor in that, definitely. And anybody's life, that if they're taking time to step back and take a bit stock of what's important, their health and their well-being, and that will come right up there at the top. I would hope so, anyway. Because
So
to me, that's
here's what to
important.
do. Here's a top tip in order to
Okay.
take time to take stock, of where you are right now, is just get a pen and paper and write down. And
Yeah,
I think, and the thing that I was taught from Tony Robbins is, before you start writing and before you write anything down, put yourself into the right state. So
yes,
what I mean by state, it means basically just jump up, put your favourite jam on, your favourite song, no your favourite like strawberry jam. I'm talking about your favourite jam as in record or
music.
CD or digital download or whatever it is. Stick it on and dance around the room for just dance like nobody's watching. Put it that way, and just jump up and down, get yourself pumped, and then sit there, and then you'll be writing all the time. You'll be so creative and all the different things that you think, and just write anything. If a bit of, if something ludicrous comes to your mind, just write it down anyway. And just keep writing and writing and writing and writing. Do you know I did that? And I was sitting it was Keith Cunningham's workshop, Rich Dad, in Paris. And I was sitting in a cafe at night, and we'd been asked to do this. And it's like, I think I wrote about 5 pages, A4,
Mhm.
and it was these wee tiny lines margined, tiny lines, and it's like 5 pages of things that I wanted to achieve, and things that I had achieved, and things that I wanted to achieve, and it was far out there things as well, ludicrous things like climbing
Yeah,
Everest, climbing Kilimanjaro, running an ultramarathon.
Yeah.
Skydiving. No sure if I would do that now, but I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Traveling the world. Retiring before I was 40. Being a financial director before I was 30. These sort of things. These
Hmm.
sort of goals. Now, these are big, audacious goals, remember. That's
But
fine.
you've done a lot of them.
Yeah, I know. Because I thought about them.
Yeah.
Again, I come back to saying, if you don't think about them, no harm.
Yeah.
If you're in the wrong mindset, though, remember, just do wee ones at a time. Now, just do wee ones. And then what happens is your mind gets opened a bit, and mind's a parachute again. It only works if it's
Yeah.
open. If if you start to be open to it, what will happen is you'll get, oh, I'm achieving this, I'm achieving that. Oh, right, okay, I've got that, and you're planting seeds.
Getting that right frame of mind and the momentum.
When
Yeah.
I first started, I remember Alton Craig, the councillor, Fife Council, Altony. Altony and I sat down. Altony went, if you could have any car in the world and money was no object, what would you have? I went, oh, a Rover Tomcat. Pretty limited thinking, eh?
Yeah.
Any car in the world.
But
No
then,
Bugatti Veyron. No money was no object. A Rover Tomcat.
mhm,
That's where my mindset was at that time. If I was to have any car in the world, I'm not really sure what I would have, but I'd certainly pick a Bugatti Veyron or maybe a McLaren or
yeah,
or a Lamborghini or something like that.
yeah,
Something that is an outstanding car that probably money could maybe never buy.
yeah.
That's the car I would have. If anybody's got any ideas, stick it in the comments. You might actually
Yeah.
inspire me.
I think if you think about the most unattainable, I mean, to me, it would be the Bugatti that comes into mind, obviously, because there's only so many of them, and they're worth like what, a million, 1 point
It's
something.
not what they're worth, it's what they are.
But they are,
It's
yeah.
like, my God, it's a work of art.
Hmm.
I mean, I look at paintings and I go, yeah. I look at a Bugatti Veyron and I went, wow. It's
Yeah,
just a work of art. It's got nothing to do with speed. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It just looks outstanding.
yeah, yeah. The design, and obviously the design is obviously
It's
developed
it's
with the
it's
aerodynamics
lines.
and
It's
all that.
sleek.
Yeah,
It's everything that goes with it. It's not about who I'm going to impress with. It's like,
what it
does it
could do.
impress me?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it. So you can see Rover Tomcat, Bugatti Veyron,
Yeah.
big difference, eh?
Big difference. Yeah, yeah.
But that's how your mind is at that point in time, and that's how most people will be right now.
So then that brings me to, and that you've just gave a really good example of where you could come from one position to another over a course of time. And I think we've covered when we talk about taking stock from a really macro level, like we've been talking about the Americans and tariffs and the global impact on that. And then, but then to bring it right down, if people watching might think, God, that's like these guys are way out there. This isn't where the kind of league I'm in.
Ah, this
Even
is this isn't for me. Well, it wasn't for me either when I first
yeah,
started.
you bring it right back onto the micro level and think, like, even if it's like you're making this list that you spoke about, Jim, and even if it's clearing the shed out or tidying up the garden or, getting up that hour early in the morning and things that you need to kind of take stock of and want to actually do and implement and create habits and see, and like you say, once you start ticking them off your list, you'll get into that groove and into that momentum, and you might
Fixing
come
my
from,
camper van.
yeah,
Just small things, changing. I mean, I've just recently did that. I've looked up Google and all the rest of it and YouTube
yeah,
and found out how to change the leisure battery. I've spoke to Gary next door because he's a camper van enthusiast as well. He's got
hmm,
a few, and he says, "Oh, you've got to take out the chair and all the rest of it to get that in," because I had a captain's chair in there that swivels and all the rest of it. And then I had to change the lights. And I was like, God, retrofit, because this is 40-year-old, this camper van T25. You don't get the same parts as you used to get, and you have to adapt parts from other vehicles onto it. And and I was asking him, so how do I do this with these xenon bulbs? And because they were just different fittings, and
hmm,
he showed me how to do it all. That's the sort of thing. So it's not the big massive things. And then I've still got the Fife Properties maintenance van sitting in the garage.
yeah, I know.
Yes, I have bought a brand new battery because the other one's goosed. It's just sat there
Hmm.
for about 3 years. I opened the door the other day and it was like, whoa, flipping heck, whiffing. It's like, and so, but I took the battery out, eventually got it out, and then I'll put the new battery in, and then I'll get it started, and I'll get it stripped and washed and all the rest of it and cleaned, and see what I'm going to do with it from there.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's just these small jobs as well.
Yeah, and it's all these things that make the difference, and they could get you really in the right mindset. Because if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed and feel like you've got all these tasks to do,
Yeah.
well, once you write them down and work your way through them, you start to feel better about yourself because you're working through these things. And I say this because I've done it.
It's the task
And
list.
yeah,
Tick,
yeah,
tick, tick. Oh, I've done that. I've done that. I've done that. And if you're not in the right state of mind, because you're like, I'm struggling,
hmm
depression, all the rest of it,
yeah,
your task list should just be like, hoover the living room,
yeah,
make the tea, just simple things that you
hmm
would just try to do yourself, and see the lift that you'll get just with doing these and ticking it every single day,
it's an
and just
amazing
just
how
these
it can.
simple things.
Yeah,
That's how from small acorns grow huge oak trees. It's a small acorn is the simple task in the very beginning for them. It's for people people are in depressed state. It's like that's the sort of things you should really be ticking off your box. Even things like, it sounds daft, but brush my teeth,
hmm
wash. It's like when you're not in the right frame of mind, it's like you ain't probably doing any of that stuff.
yeah. Yeah, some things that we have all kind of incorporated, most of us have incorporated into our lives, like get up, you brush your teeth, you do this, you put the kettle on, all these things. But a lot of people might not be in that a positive state of mind, and these things might be quite a
Yeah.
challenge for them to even do. So you could bring it right back down to really simple day-to-day things. But at the end of the day, to somebody, that's an achievement.
And that's kind of where I started out in the very beginning all these years
Mhm.
ago. For most people, that's where you do start. And now it's like, how many holidays can I get in my diary, and how many dive trips can I get in my diary? And
Completely different level.
hi, and
Yeah.
will I have time for work? It's
Well,
like, sorry, I swore there. Work. Oh, sworn again.
well, yeah, that wasn't what I took for that when you said that. The one thing I did pick up when you spoke about is will I have time for work? And time was one of the things that I wanted to kind of round off and talk about today because time is the element that influences all of this. Do you know, making time to take a step back and take stock, having the time to actually follow through on your goals and your dreams and or even just your task list. But everybody seems to be like, and it's a thing that comes out everybody's mouth, and I've said it myself so many times. I just didn't have enough time. And we just need to find the right ways to make it, I think, and make that time. And like you says earlier about finding time to, if you've got time to sit and do these
Yeah.
mundane things and watch shows, you've got time to do these important
What you're
things.
really telling yourself when you say, I don't have enough time, is I don't think that's a priority in my life.
hmm
It's not the fact that you've not got time. It's not a
You need
priority
to
to you.
prioritize it better. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the level of importance you put on it. That's what it is. That
hmm
is that is the most important thing. It's a classic example. I don't have time. Okay. So if I told you, if you got on a plane tomorrow and travelled to Australia, I will give you £1 million in cash.
I would find the
Would you
time.
do it? Would you do it? Yeah.
Yes.
They'd be on the phone right now. Right now, they'd be booking their flight to Australia, and it's like they're getting £1 million in cash.
And nothing else
So,
would matter.
so what has changed in your time then? You've put more value on it.
Yeah.
I've put more value in it actually than they have, but they've realised the value to them now
hmm
because it's more valuable than anything else than they're doing. It's more valuable than the job that they do because they'll never get paid that in their job.
hmm
So it's like that's not an issue anymore for my job. That's more important now because I can get £1 million for that.
Yeah.
So I've
And you
just
just,
proved categorically it's not about I've not got time. It's I don't value whatever it is enough to make the time.
yeah. Yeah. And that's because you instantly, as soon as you've put that price on that, it's prioritized in a lot more higher position than anything else. Like you say, your job and everything like
Absolutely.
that wouldn't matter because obviously,
Here's the most. What do you think the most important commodity is in the world? Is it money?
No.
Is it time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you could lose money and you can get it back. But if you lose time, you ain't ever getting that back. This is why I get extremely irritated.
Frustrated when people
Yeah.
waste your time.
If someone wastes my time,
Yeah, I
or
know.
if someone makes an appointment with me or says I'm going to come and get you at a certain time and they do not turn up at that time,
Hmm.
or if someone's got a meeting with me and says oh, sorry, I've got to go somewhere else. It's like, sorry? It's like, my time's not that important to you then? It's the one
Yeah.
commodity, and I will call it. I know it's no commodity really, because you can't really sell it or anything. Well, you can sell it. People do that for a job, don't they? Trade time for money. Um, but it's one thing. It's the only thing that's the most important, because no one gets to their deathbed and says, "I wish I had more money."
No, it's always more time. And I think that, like you say, time's the key element in helping you achieve things. And it's the one thing you'll never get back if you waste it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's prioritizing your diary, what is important to you, and where you should allocate your time in order to get the best return on whatever it is you're doing. Do you want to hang out with a person that pulls you down all the time, it's negative all the time, or do you want to hang out with people that'll lift you up and will champion you all the way? I know the one I'm wanting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And
some people
there's
choose
a
to
lot of
hang out
them.
with it. Some people choose to hang out with other people because misery loves company.
Hmm.
That's why. Because they're miserable themselves and they want to be miserable with everybody else. And they want other people to agree with them about it. And then they could all be miserable together.
Yeah.
And then they could all dig the hole together and climb down into the hole and they could all have a pity party.
Yeah. And then you're stuck there like the crabs in the bucket.
Yes, absolutely. And now and again, you get people like me that come along and go, I tell you what, I'll stick a ladder there if you want to get out. It's like, no,
Hmm.
no, I like being miserable down here.
And
Some
that's the
people are
thing as
like that.
well, because you could find people, but then it's only you. You're the only one that could really truly help yourself. You need to
Of
want to
course it
help
is.
yourself. Yeah.
It's 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 everything. The fact that you'll acknowledge this comes back to the taking stock, doesn't it?
Hmm.
In a full circle, you've just closed the loop here.
Yeah.
And the fact that in order to move forward, in order to improve your situation, in order to take stock of where you are and go for what you really want, you have to then uh, have that realization about where you are right now in order to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I think that, and it's good. And like you say, we've tied that in quite well and went full circle. But I think for me, and I've wrote a couple of notes here. The takeaways I think for anybody to take for today, and I will as well, is that, do you know, if you once you kind of figure out what you need to do, or what needs to be on that list, make that list and start working through it, and take some time to really prioritize these things, and it will pay dividends over time. Do you know? And don't try and think, well, I'll make a list and I'll be completely different in a week's time. That's not going to happen. Do you know what? You need time for these things to take effect and get you on the right path.
Yep. It's
And,
just like anything. It's like a muscle in your body. Your mind's a muscle as well. You've got to exercise it all the time. All the
yeah,
time. Rest now and again. Have your rest days like you do with normal physical exercise, but exercise your mind, exercise your body. It's reading the books. It's listening to the right podcasts. It's having the right mentors to do stuff with you, and it's having the right power team round about you. That's what will help you get to that next steps. That power team could be a group, Andy's Man Club for some people.
yeah,
It could just be a team of people like similar to yourselves that think, I need somebody to talk to, but I want to talk to anonymously, and it doesn't go out the room, and somebody it understands me, and that's important as well. That's one thing that's missing nowadays. I remember I was running through Silverburn this morning, actually, Silverburn Forest or the park,
yeah,
and I was thinking, every single time on at the weekend, as soon as I could get out there and get in that park and play there all day, that's what I did. I
Yeah, I
was
used to do
never
that.
away from the place.
So was that.
I was up the trees and everything, and I was just like, all my pals were there. We're playing hide and seek, we're playing tig, and we're playing everything, all day. We'd go for the whole day, and it's like you would like, oh, I've forgotten to eat.
Yeah.
It's like, you forgot to go home. A couple of times, I remember my friend's mum used to call the police, thinking we'd lost.
He's
She used to,
been away
honestly,
for
she used
about
to call.
12
She used
hours.
to call the police. The police actually, she genuinely thought we were lost because we never came back till it was dark. And we were really young. We are probably only about 6 or 7 years old, and we just never came back till it was dark. And we just went out at first thing in the morning. We just disappeared.
Yeah. And that, isn't it, such a common thing now, because
You don't get that now. They're
children
on their
don't play like that.
they're on their phones. It's like,
Yeah.
well, how is that a physical exercise?
Yeah, I know it's completely different now. And then that's maybe something as well, when you're taking stock, if you're a parent thinking, right, okay, I need to maybe make changes to the way that your children do things in order for them
We
to
probably need
progress.
to make changes to the way they do things as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
And it's
but how,
because you genuinely usually find that your children replicate what you do,
what you do, yeah.
less. So if you're a runner, you'll find that they'll probably be into jogging or running or some sort of thing like that, or something similar. Whereas if you're on computers all the time, or you never go out and you watch telly all the time, then you probably find your kids will stay indoors and they'll just be on their computers all the time.
Yeah.
And they'll never do anything different. I mean, I took
Leading
up
people
diving,
by
and
example.
all of a sudden, we're on holidays for diving now. Well, the rest of
Mhm.
them are women. And then
Yeah.
Tony and I, when I come back from Spain, Tony and I have got it set up to we're going diving at Loch Fyne,
Hmm.
over on the west coast on the 27th of April. So these sort of things are so important. But you see how that replicates. Because if I hadn't
Yeah.
have said anything about diving and doing my qualifications for diving, none of the rest of them done it. Ben wouldn't have done it. Scott wouldn't have done it. Tony wouldn't have done it because nobody knew any different. And I says, I'm going to do my qualification. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I'll do mine. I'll do it. I'll do it. Job done. Now we're all diving together.
It's leading by example, but then, and that's a good thing. It's a positive thing, and it's good to like, and
So I
it's
ended
good
up
that,
doing kendo because Ben
yeah.
was like, "Can I go to kendo?" And I just had to sit and wait on him. And then Christian went, just want to join in?" I went, "Yeah, I was kind of thinking that."
I'm here,
So
so
so I ended up being kendo, and then that's when I ended up running all the time and going
yeah,
with Christian all the time, and it was like he was coaching me and telling me what I should be doing, and that's what led me to be able to do marathons and ultra and stuff like that as well, because that's the type of thing he was doing. So it was the power of association.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So hopefully, like, obviously taking stock, hopefully we've kind of run through the importance of that in any shape and form, or any journey that you're on in your life. Always take stock of where you are and how you could probably implement some improvements to make things a bit better. And like you said, Jim, I think it's really important to finish off saying that it's good to kind of surround yourself with people that are like-minded or align with how you're feeling, so that you've always got somebody there to kind of lean on or seek advice or assistance from. That's always a good point, to have people like that in your life, because a lot of people struggle because they don't have that. So, yeah, definitely.
Because so many
But, well,
specialists out there as well that help you.
mhm.
That's important as well. There's so many specialist organisations that will help you as well. Your doctor will help you as well, if you're especially if you're major chronic depression and stuff like that.
Yeah,
There is help out there. So remember and seek it. Don't just like watch out for the misery loves company bit.
yeah, and bury your head in the sand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good. Okay, we will leave it there today. Thanks for that, Jim, for all your insights. Thanks for everybody watching. If you're on the reruns, still jump in the comments. We will get back to you as best we can. And Jim and I will see you on the next Wealth Creation Show, 12:30 next Monday. And until then, we'll see you later.
bye for now.